Hello, Jan.
Playing.
All right.
Yeah, he have gathered again with our seminar.
You dead? Hi, everyone.
We just had the lecture by Mary Schussler, and she has just given us an excellent lecture on dualistic thinking.
Uh-huh. Mary Schussler?
Yes.
I've heard of her.
Well, she's been talking with you, but she has never introduced her last name.
I did. Okay.
She,
Thinking?
yes.
Yeah.
She is a junior high school teacher, and she showed that this morning that she's a very good teacher.
Yes.
She had given us all a worksheet to work with dualistic terms that we often think in,
Uh-huh.
and ask us to find a transcendent alternative.
Good.
So we have been doing that. Besides that, she had, in beautiful calligraphy, printed up a large poster with the 11 principles.
Oh, is that so?
So if you ask us now what principle it is, we certainly know now. We have it right in front of us.
Well, that's good.
And another poster, also a beautiful calligraphy, with various Bible terms and metapsychiatric ideas of what does God want.
Yeah.
We also have that in front of us. So if you ask us what God wants, we know that too.
You don't have to remember it. Well, anyway, I appreciate it, and it shows that she really appreciates the teaching. Yeah.
Maybe you give a brief, Dr. Tell a little bit of what you told her.
Okay, Mary.
Hello, Dr. Hora.
Yes.
We went through a preliminary discussion regarding the definition of dualistic thinking as thinking in opposites and in polarities.
Yes, very good.
And we discussed one of the stories that you had written regarding a patient who continued to scratch his nose, and he needed to see what the meaning was.
Yes.
And that kind of demonstrated the all the elements which are involved in dualistic thinking, and it brought up something as the solution regarding the 3 R's.
Yes.
And then we are busily working on this assignment, and we've come up with some questions, and I think I'd like to start with one.
Wonderful.
There's a dualistic couple of opposites, love and hate, and if I recall, in one of your books, there are some dualistic words or opposites that do not qualify as true opposites, and I think this was one of them.
Love and hate.
Yes, I think that you said something about love not being the opposite of hate.
Right. Well, of course, depends on what your understanding of love is. If you assume that love is a feeling or an emotion, then you can say love and hate are both emotions, and therefore they are opposite. But if you look at love epistemologically as a quality of thought, then of course you have to see that the dualistic alternative to love is calculative thinking. So it all depends whether you define love emotion from as an emotion or as a quality of thought. But of course, real love is neither a quality of thought nor an emotion. It is divine reality, which has no opposite, because divine reality is non-dual.
Thank you, Dr. Hora.
Did it clarify to you?
Yes.
Everything? Yes, okay.
Hello, Dr. Hora. This is Marjorie.
Hello, Marjorie.
I had a question on, I wanted to understand the meaning of the trap we get into dualistic thinking. What is the meaning of our thinking dualistically all the time? In fact, as a school teacher, I know one of the things in school that children start with very early is it's a sign of intelligence to know the opposites of some of these words. And I'm wondering, what is the meaning of our thinking dualistically?
The meaning of dualistic thinking is judging by appearances. If you judge reality by how it looks like, you will arrive at the dualistic system of reasoning. Left, right, up, down, front, back, past, future, yes, no. Everything in human experience in the phenomenal world appears to be dualistic. It appears to us in terms of opposite. But that is deep impression in faith and judging by appearances. And therefore Jesus advised us not to judge by appearances, but judge righteous judgment, which means we have to learn to transcend the appearance world and come to know the non-dual realm of reality, which is the only valid reality. It is non-dimensional, therefore it cannot have opposite. Spiritual reality is a non-dual realm of non-dimensional reality.
So, as students of metapsychiatry, our job is to continually rise above that judging by appearances?
Absolutely. And learning to judge righteous judgment. For instance, if you come up to the issue of love, suppose you would like to express love to someone, and it's important to know that love is neither an emotion nor a thought, but a quality of being. And then you can really love to be loving. We love, we don't do the love, people talk about making love and talking to love and all sorts of variations of love and many variations of love in the phenomenal world. But if you judge righteous judgment, which means you know the truth of what love really is, then you know that it's a quality of being and it is a divine quality, and that we are here to manifest all the divine qualities that we are capable of. So we are judging righteous judgment, which means the correct judgment based on an understanding of non-dual reality.
Dr. Hora, this is Fern.
Yes, Fern.
In thinking about the dualistic opposites of dependence and independence,
Yes.
what would be being correctly? In other words, what is the error when we find ourselves floundering between depending on people or situations and then wanting to be independent?
Yes. Well, you see, if you are dependent, then there are two, right?
Yes.
There is you and there is the one you're depending upon, right?
Right.
If you are independent, then there are still two. One, that is you're independent, from someone else. You still have self and other.
Right.
Self and other. It's a relationship situation. Now, in the realm of non-dual reality, there is neither dependent nor independent. What is that?
Linda came up with the reliance.
Reliant. Well, that's pretty good, but there is something even better. At one ment.
At one ment.
Right. We don't have a relationship with God. Fern, do you realize that?
Yes.
We have an at-one-ment with God, infinite love intelligence. We are inseparable aspects of that reality. And when we understand it, there is no more struggle with dependence and independence.
This is Marjorie again.
Yes, Margaret.
I wanted to ask about attached and detached. What would be the transcendent quality to work with if one is attached or detached?
Well, the language allows us to say non-attached. But that's just a descriptive term which transcends both of these English words, attached and detached. We're neither attached nor we are detached. If we have realized oneness with infinite mind, then we appear to be non-attached.
Jan mentioned earlier that maybe attention could also maybe go with this. I mentioned non-attached, and it didn't seem to. I don't know. Couldn't see a quality, I guess. So would attention be more
Attention
being attentive to what is?
is just a quality of awareness. But non-attached is a pretty good word if we are talking to people who are not students of metapsychiatry. If you're talking to students of metapsychiatry, then none of these terms are satisfactory except oneness, at one ment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Hora, this is Joan.
Yes, John.
There's another pair of words on the list that doesn't seem to belong. There's a good and evil.
Yes.
Is it once again a matter of not knowing how to define good correctly?
Well, it is the assumption that there is such a thing as evil. If you assume that evil is a reality, because it feels like a reality, then you are caught up in the dualism of evil versus good. But God knows nothing about evil. God is good. So you have to know that in reality there is only good, but we are experiencing good and evil. You remember what the serpent said to Adam and to Eve. He said, if ye eat of the fruit, you shall know good and evil. Your eyes shall be opened, and you shall know good and evil, and you will be as gods. You see? But the serpent offered Eve the reward for violating the prohibition. That her reward will be dualism, a dualistic viewpoint on reality. That was the serpent's reward for violating and distancing oneself from the Creator. The dualism starts right then and there, where the serpent offered man the faculty of misperception, the great reward.
So good and evil should have been at the head of our list, I guess. Is health and sickness the same then? There is no such thing as sickness?
Should have been. No, what is your question?
Oh, I said is the opposites health and sickness then, is that the same? Sickness has no reality either?
Well, of course, sickness is an experience. And experiences are three. Reality is perfection. Non-dimensional, spiritual, divine perfection of being. That's the quality of reality. I suppose we'll be talking a great deal about this at the conference.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Hora.
You're welcome.
So could we say that Eve, before she understood or talked with the serpent, she may have seen in a non-dual way?
Right, of course.
Her vision was spiritual.
Well, of course, you are talking in temporal terms about the story of Adam and Eve, Jan. The story of Adam and Eve is not a historical event.
Uh-huh.
It is an allegory describing the human experience.
It's a teaching allegory.
Well, all biblical allegories are for the purpose of our edification. Of course, we are very successful in miseducating ourselves.
Uh-huh.
We have a tendency of reading things as a history book or temporality. So it's important to know that these stories with their spiritual meaning, they don't refer to time. There's no time, there's no space. It didn't happen in a geographical location. It simply describes the human experience.
And it's teaching us, bringing to our attention the tendency of dualistic thinking.
Right, correct. And the troubles which flow out of that.
Driven out of the paradise.
That's right. That's right.
That's a lot of trouble.
Yes. As in Adam, all die, so in Christ Jesus, all are made alive. Jesus was showing us the way how to get back into paradise by returning to that state of consciousness which is aware of the non-dual realm of reality.
So Jesus' teaching was to see our at-one-ment.
Yeah, right, sure. I and my Father are one. I am in the Father is in me, etc.
I was just wondering, you said to affirm that at-one-ment is the alternative to dependence and independence. Huh?
Yes.
So how does that help somebody who has this tendency to cling to people and then wants to get away from it and goes back and forth?
Yes, there is, on the human level, there is no remedy to this problem. Because all human beings are either dependent or independent. They are either freedom fighters or slaves. But the freedom fighter is also a slave. Because if he were not a slave, he wouldn't have to fight for freedom. The interesting that were in the history of of mankind, there were many freedom fighters. But as long as we fight for freedom, we can never be free, because the fight itself enslaves us. So what do you think is the solution?
It would be freeing our consciousness from these thoughts, or?
Yes, Marjorie, it is freedom realizing. By fighting for freedom, you can never be free.
So realizing what freedom really is in our consciousness is freedom.
Freedom, real freedom is.
That's, yes. That's right.
Seeing oneself in advancement with divine reality. That's freedom.
Now, I say here among our students in this class, I don't think there are many freedom fighters here, but there is another tendency of wanting to be close to people socially.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, the problem that that we are facing, had to make ourselves dependent for emotional satisfaction and to be close to each other. Of course, you can only have so much of that, and then we want to get away, or have another dependency to some. So, in what way, what is needed for our type of dependency, independency?
Well, I would recommend that you read Anne's article on solitariness.
I'll try to get around that this weekend. Solitariness.
Solitariness, right.
I think the fear is
The individual is not free. So he's not caught up in this dualistic anxiousness about being in or not being in, or being out and being liked or being not liked, being accepted or being rejected, and all this nonsense. It doesn't disturb him. He never thinks in those terms. He has a glorious sense of freedom. As the Bible said, stand fast in the liberty whereby Christ has made us free, and be not entangled again in social inanity.
some of us may be afraid of that, and maybe fear isolation or loneliness.
Yeah. Well, there is no such thing. Loneliness is a desire for closeness. Isolation is a desire for acceptance. And the separation is all these things are tormenting people who don't understand solitariness, because that is based on a conscious advancement with divine reality.
But what comfort can you offer to these fearful people that they find there?
Let them make an appointment with you.
Solitariness is
It's a glorious freedom.
freedom.
It's not isolation.
No.
Anne has explained it very nicely. But that article, what we read with great attention and contemplated. A solitary individual is not a loner, but neither is he anxious about acceptance, not acceptance, or closeness, or distance. It's always a beneficial presence in the world. Whether people like him or don't like him, approve of him or don't approve of him, is not concerned with these things.
And the reward is freedom. Oh, that's not a reward, of course. That is what happens then.
Right. Oh. You can say the reward, but it's not really a reward that you said. It's just a realization of complete peace, assurance, gratitude, and love.
Oh, that should be attractive enough.
Well, we try to make it as attractive as possible. But what is needed is an understanding of this concept, and people are scared of it. They don't understand.
Dr. Hora, this is Marjorie again.
Yes.
I can't recall this. I know that you've answered this before for me. Could you again explain the difference between concentrating and contemplation?
Well, concentrating is an operational attempt at paying attention. And contemplating is an attitude which is paying attention to clarity. Concentration is a desire for mastery, mental mastery of some issue.
That's what went through my mind when you said contemplating this article by Anne on solitariness.
Yes.
I was thinking, I thought to myself, I will concentrate on this, and I realized that concentrating on it would be dualistic, and I would be interested in mastery.
Right. You would want to master this concept.
I would master solitariness. Well,
Right.
I don't think mastering solitariness would be very helpful, so.
Well, it cannot be done.
Yes. So contemplation, is that, it seems as if in order to contemplate the quality or the solitariness or whatever it is that is needed, one really has to let go of everything and just be attentive, I guess, and not worry whether.
That is nothing else but a realized at one man. Do you understand it?
I understand when you say that realizing at one-ment, it puts me back in perspective.
Right. Then solitariness is no problem. It is spontaneous. If you are in conscious at one man with love intelligence, then you're not afraid about being accepted or rejected or close or further away or not so close or warmth or coldness or this or that. None of these things are important to you. You're at peace and you are a blessing in the world because you don't patter people.
You don't what?
You don't patter people.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Dr. Hora, this is John.
Yes, John.
I have a question about studying
Speak up
principles.
a little, John.
Pardon?
Speak up a little.
Oh, I have a question about studying principles of metapsychiatry,
Yes.
and also biblical study.
Yes.
When we are trying to learn something, you said once that if we really understand it, memorizing it or taking notes or writing it down is not necessary.
Right.
And my question is, in studying metapsychiatry, isn't memorization or taking notes or keeping a notebook or something really a part of the process of beginning to understand a principle?
Yeah, well, I would say taking notes occasionally is justified, like for instance, writing down all the principles in the hope of spending some time contemplating them. But memorizing is of absolutely no value. It indicates a lack of interest in the subject matter. You know the metapsychiatric definition of effort?
No, I don't.
It is an endeavor to do what we are not interested in.
So what do you
You know, someone in the group here mentioned, or what you think you should be doing.
Calling whatever you need to recall at any time.
Is recalling recalling is not operational then? It
No, it's prayerful,
just an openness.
spontaneous, it is inspired. It is God who recalls. We cannot do it. It happens to us in response to a need. When we need something, it is there. It's like when Jesus says we need a couple of fried fishes and bread, it was there.
So, is this process of studying, of being a student of spiritual ideas,
Yes,
is really just an exposure, a systematic exposure to spiritual ideas and thinking and qualities, not so much a process of trying to study and learn and catalog information.
right. It's not this type of education is entirely different from the standard academic system of education, which is essentially informational. But metapsychiatric education is transformational. The objective here is not accumulating knowledge, but being transformed by the knowledge.
I have one last question. Could you explain what commitment is then, existential or commitment to
Commitment?
commitment? Yes.
Commitment. It is a wholehearted appreciation of a truth.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Dr. Hora, this is Linda.
Yes, Linda.
I would like some help with doing and not doing, or being active and passive.
Yes.
For instance, I'm working right now on trying to see through shadows, to the spiritual reality underneath the shadow. For instance, there are a lot of people in my office. I was talking in group the other day about many people are getting divorces, cars are being vandalized, and people are having major surgeries, and it's all very dramatic. And so, when I try not to get involved or not to see the appearances, but to see the shadow, that seems to be something that I do, and I fail. And yet, if I try not to become involved, I still find myself just repressing what I see.
Yes.
So it seems that what I come up with is this, if you can tell me if this is right. Somehow God has to help me to see what God sees. I can't make myself see what God sees. So how do I, what do I do? I can't ask that. But somehow there's something that could help me to better not try to see or to not see, or to do or to not do. How can I open myself better to see what God sees?
Well, Linda, there is no virtue in not seeing. We have to see everything, but we have to see them in the context of their meaning. And when you see vandalism, when you see sicknesses and wholesale surgery and what else did you say? Divorces going on?
Yeah, many of those.
Any of those, yes. You have to see it in the context of their meaning. And if you see the meaning of these phenomena, then you can turn away from them with a great deal of understanding and knowledge that this is inevitable but not necessary. And there is another reality where all these things do not exist.
Okay, so thank you. That's helpful. Where I've been failing it then is
You try to not see these things, right?
yes, I do.
Running away from it, so to speak,
Right.
avoiding them. Well, that's not a solution. We have to confront everything, but always seeing all these things in the context of their meaning. Now, what is the universal meaning of all these problems?
Universal meaning is always self-confirmatory ideation.
Correct, Linda, you see? Now, if you understand self-confirmatory ideation is the fundamental affliction of mankind ever since Adam and Eve, and that it is the metapsychiatric term for original sin, then you will see this and you will not be afraid of it, because you will know that while self-confirmatory ideation is inevitable, yet it is not necessary, and it doesn't have to be in your experience. So things may come to your attention, but they don't have to come into your experience.
Right. I think I understand now the meaning of this. My ruminations over all these things that I see sometimes. I think if it can happen to these people they're very nice people, they really are.
Yes.
I think if it can happen to them, it can happen to me.
Right. That's the source of your fear. What you're afraid of is that you will not be able to resist seeking self-confirmatory experiences.
And you can't do that by resistance either. You cannot resist self-confirmation.
You have to confront this miasma of life, this phenomenon, and you have to know, you have to see what is involved, and that it is not necessary.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hora.
You're welcome, Linda.
Or this is Faye Evans. Up until maybe a few minutes ago, I came upon the fourth principle. Yes is good, but no is also good.
Yes.
And my question was, I told someone no, and I felt guilty. And this seems to be quite a problem, because I always have felt that yes and no were dual. And I know that guilt is self-confirmatory, yet it didn't go away very well. I kind of have a how question, but maybe I'll be okay for a minute. Yeah. How do we know when yes is good, but no is also good?
Yes, it's good, and no is also good when we are divinely governed. When the private personal mind governs our reactions, then we have a dualism. But when the divine mind is in control of our life, then these seeming contradictions resolve themselves into a blessing. If God is saying yes, that's a blessing. If God is saying no, that is also a blessing. So the dualism becomes a non-dual response to divine inspiration. How are you?
Oh,
If you don't understand it, just ask a question.
well, the question is then, what would it mean when you are uncomfortable
When you are uncomfortable,
saying no?
saying no.
Of course, I'm uncomfortable saying yes sometimes because I don't want to say yes.
Well, then you are caught up in thinking about what you want and what you don't want, or what somebody else wants or somebody else doesn't want.
Hallelujah.
Can you see that?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Dr. Hora,
Yes,
this is Betty.
yes, Betty.
When I was coming here today, I live very close to the office, about maybe 10 minutes away. And we're supposed to be here at 11:30, and at 25 after, I looked at the clock and I thought, gee, I'm going to be late. And I realized that I really have enough time to be on time, but I'm usually late. And when there's conferences, Danny and I are usually late. And I really became aware of that today because I was late last month. And I wondered the meaning of that.
Yes. Well, you probably think that you should be on time.
Well, it seems to me that being on time is being in harmony with the group, with the whole right idea. It seems like,
No, Betty.
no?
Being on time is a compulsiveness.
Oh,
The story of the psychoanalyst who said to his patient, "You came early today, you must be anxious." And next time the patient came late, and the analyst says, "You came late today, you are resisting." And then the following time the patient came on time, and the analyst said, "You are compulsive."
Can't win it.
So you can't win, right?
right. I've been early, and I've been late, and I've been on time.
And you can't win. So what's a mother to do?
That's good. Yeah.
Should I stay home?
Well, that's a possibility. But an enlightened man moves in the harmony of timelessness.
So it's not a question of whether you're on time or not on time. It's a question of whether your consciousness is with God.
And yes, and whether you are living a harmonious life.
I don't think I have any more questions. What it was suggested to me to ask, what is a harmonious life? Living a harmonious life.
Well, that is like living in the right consciousness. When we are in harmony with God, when our lives are harmonious, unhurried, effortless, efficient, and effective, frictionless and conflict-free. All things working together for good. Harmonious prospering. Spiritual blessedness. This is how a beneficial presence in the world lives. Never in a hurry and never late, never early, never troubled, only harmonious. Harmoniously prospering.
You've been saying harmoniously prospering lately. And I haven't really experienced that. Could you tell me the meaning of that?
That you haven't experienced it?
Yes. All right. Well, I don't know if experience is the word, but I'm not too familiar with that.
The meaning of it is insufficient enlightenment.
I have one more question. I would like to know about the four horsemen.
Yes. Is there anyone there except Jan who knows the four horsemen? People keep asking me about.
Someone here said that she does. Jan told her.
Who's that? Who is that?
Joan.
Yeah, well, Jan knows it, I'm sure. But nobody else knows it?
Dr. Hora,
Yes?
this Joan, Jan told me, so I know.
Okay, tell us.
Rivalry, envy, malice. Was jealousy? I was thinking if that's the same as envy. Jealousy is the fourth?
Yes, you have to start with envy, because that's how things always start. There are four horsemen. The first horseman is envy. The second one is jealousy. The third one is rivalry. And the fourth one is malice. It is a progressive aggravation of the condition.
Oh, they go in order from envy.
Envy to malice.
Could you define those then?
Well, envy is a desire to have what somebody else has. Jealousy is the desire to be what someone else is. Rivalry is malicious competition. And malice is the most dangerous form of ill will that anyone can indulge in.
Malice is it's the delight in someone else's misfortune, wasn't that?
Ill will.
I beg your pardon?
Ill will.
Ill will.
What is ill will, Dr. Hora?
Wishing ill to people, to someone, or delight of someone else's misfortune. You put it very nicely. A student of metapsychiatry has to be very careful to purify his thoughts of the four horsemen. We have no business being involved with any of these horsemen. Have to be very careful.
Dr. Hora, this is Linda.
Yes, Linda.
I've never heard about these horsemen before. What's so special about these horsemen?
Because they are troublemakers in our lives. They bring us trouble if we are indulging in those thoughts, and they can bring unpleasantness if someone close to us indulges in those thoughts and we are not aware of it. or we don't want to see it.
Dr. Hora,
Yes.
this is Marjorie. I'm not sure, but I think Linda wants to know where the four horsemen came from
Is
or where the thought came from.
that what Linda wants to know?
I think.
I guess it's just that I don't understand what makes them horsemen. Why can't they be something else? I mean, I'm used to horsemen of the apocalypse or something like that.
Right. Well, they are the metapsychiatric interpretation of the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
And they are horsemen because they are forms of galloping evil.
I see. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, we're done. We're giving it to you.
I want to that. Dr. Hora?
Yes.
Yeah, could you explain to me? I have never really understood what the apocalypse is. Could you teach me what that is? Yes, briefly.
That is a book up in the Bible
Yeah, well, I got that much.
called Revelation. And you have to, if you're interested in, you have to study it. And I could recommend a good book about it. Would you like to read it?
Yes, I would.
It is written by a lady whose name is Marcette Schutt.
Can you spell that?
Chutte.
Yep. Okay.
Marcette Schutt. And the title of the book is The End of the Search.
Okay, thank you. Jan says that they have the book here, and he's going to generously let me borrow it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Dr. Hora, this is John.
Yes, John.
We've talked in session a little bit about the apocalyptic view of reality. Could you explain the meaning of that briefly?
The apocalyptic view of reality,
Yes.
or the meaning of the concept of apocalypse.
That's, yeah, the meaning of the concept.
Now, the apocalyptic view of reality is perhaps represented by this preacher, what's his name, who always threatens people, Billy Graham. He preaches an apocalyptic view of reality. And of course, there are many others. Brim, fire, and disasters, and Armageddon, and such things. But metapsychiatry has a different understanding of the apocalyptic view, namely that in the process of reaching enlightenment, our entire viewpoint on reality has to be destroyed. And so it's a world, the destruction of our private world is the apocalyptic experience.
We have next week we start a new course program here,
Yes.
and Joan Rubido teaches a course on the meta-psychiatric understanding of the Bible,
Yes.
starting next week Monday.
Yes.
And one of her textbooks is this book of Margaret Schutt
Yes.
that she works with, and with interpretations that you have given in the dialogues.
Yes.
I just want to make a little plug here for the course.
Very good. I read the announcement, yeah. I would sign you up, but I'm too far to travel.
Well, not meant for you.
Okay.
Dr. Hora, this is Bill.
Yes, Bill.
Whenever I come to the groups or to the session here, the telephone conference,
Yes.
there seems to be a lot of information, a lot of wise information, intelligent information.
Yes.
And on the way home, I seem to try to do something with it, like intellectualize it or say, gee, what he said, that is really something.
Yeah.
I seem really interested in what's being said, but I don't know what's needed to be transformed by it.
The best thing you can do is forget it.
And not talk to your wife about it.
I didn't catch that.
She said, Fern said, and not talk to your wife about it.
Right. You see, Bill, you have gone to school like we all have, and we have learned, we were encouraged to use our heads.
Right.
And that's the worst thing we can do when it comes to metapsychiatric education.
How does the transformation come in? I mean, what is that just something that occurs?
It comes by the grace of God. If you are sincerely interested in transformation rather than mastery of the knowledge. You don't have to master this knowledge. You just let go of it, and it will sneak into your consciousness and transform you.
So,
Like a thief in the night.
so by the idea of just forgetting it when you leave doesn't necessarily mean you're disinterested.
No, don't dwell. It's just an attitude. An attitude which surrenders the temptation of mastery and humbly waits for a transformation to happen.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, Bill.
Dr. Hora, this is Joan.
Yes, John.
This is kind of embarrassing, but I would like to know the meaning of the fact that I've been sitting here today and having a terrible time paying attention. Is that just for right now I'm more interested in myself some way, or?
Well, who else?
She gives the microphone back to me. I think we have come to the end of the time.
Yes, yeah.
Dr. Well, thank you very much.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye now.